Talking recently with a close family friend about the home buying process. I wanted to share some tips and some general information people might not know. Did a video recently about so you're thinking about buying a house, where I mentioned that you want to check your credit report, you want to have a budget in place, be living within a budget, you want to have some money saved up, at least $2,000 to $5,000, depending on your situation, for closing costs and stuff. And in addition to that, the process gets to be fairly simple. It seems a little scary early on, but where the hell am I even going? Let me figure this out. Thought I put a marker over here. There we go. Okay. So the process is, initially what you're going to do is you're going to contact a lender, and you're going to get pre-approved for financing for a home. Oh shit, don't drive into there. And when you get pre-approved, just because you get pre-approved for amount does not mean that's exactly what you want to be spending. You want to be mindful of what your house payment is going to be, and by that I don't just mean the house payment, principal, and interest. You want to factor in taxes and insurance, homeowners insurance as well. You want to keep your house payment or potential house payment under 28% of your pre-tax income. You want to keep your overall debt payments, so house payment included, below 36% of your total income. So just because you get approved for X amount of financing, bother to take the math one step further and take a look at how much house payment you can afford. All right, but that's enough of that. What I wanted to do was share some of the process with you. You got to decide, first of all, if you're going to use a realtor or if you're going to search on your own. If you're going to search on your own, then you're probably going to go through a title company for negotiating with the seller of the home. If you've got a realtor, then your realtor is going to help you through that process. Once you find a home, you're going to make an initial offer, and this is where the negotiating begins. You're going to do your walkthrough. You're going to go, oh yeah, I like this. Oh, this I'm not so sure I like. You're going to start negotiating. Particularly, this is also where you start talking about any negotiation on closing costs, if they're going to pay it, if you're going to pay it, etc. Whether or not you're wanting a home warranty with your home. We could get into those kind of things in a future video. But once you've got that, then you're going to want to get a home inspection done. And remember that your home inspector is your line of defense. He's the one that's watching out for your interests, okay? You're also going to need to get an appraisal done. Make sure that the home appraises for whatever the seller is asking for, or whatever you're at least willing to pay on the home. Now, once you've got that figured out, you're going to continue with the negotiations. Once your home inspection comes back, if you've gotten a decent home inspector, there's going to be some shit that needs to be done. Some stuff that's out of date, some stuff that needs to be fixed or looked at. You're going to want to ask questions about the roof, about the heating and air. You're going to want to know, is there water leakage in the basement? You're going to want to know when's the. You're probably going to get a termite inspection. There's probably going to be a condition of financing and stuff. Whether or not there's mold, asbestos, there'll be, should ask questions about lead paint if it's an older home, things of that nature. So, as I said, there's going to be some negotiating, some back and forth. Once you and the seller come to an agreement, after the negotiating, you're either going to come to an agreement with the seller or you're going to walk away. And my advice to you is do not be afraid to walk away. If you walk away, some things may happen. The seller may come down on price, or maybe it just wasn't the right fit for you. And it's better to not be stuck with an albatross, because you're liable to be in this house Potentially forever. Most people will change homes every 7 to 10 years, but who knows whenever the home is going to be your last home. All right, I think I've mapped this body of water, which wasn't even the body of water that I wanted to actually get to. Great. All right, so we circle again. Oh, a pig. All right, so, sorry, I'm distracted. Distracted all over the place. All right, now, there might be some complications as well. The house might not appraise for enough. And then you've got to kind of go back to the drawing board on that. If the house doesn't appraise for enough, either the homeowner will have to come down a little bit more on price, or you're going to have to come up with some extra cash somewhere if the house isn't appraising for what you were needing for financing. All right, once an offer is accepted on a home, closing usually takes place within 30 to 60 days. It's something that you negotiate out with the seller. They need to have time to find a place of their own if they haven't done so already, and then of course get all the crap out and get the house cleaned up and get any final repairs done, anything else that might have gone on in negotiating. And once this happens, then it's a matter of paperwork. Closing is a tedious process of signing probably 50, 60 different documents, signing and initialing. And during that process, or leading up to it, depending on how things work for you, your finances are under a microscope. You're going to have to explain every withdrawal and deposit that has gone on in your account. You're going to have to prove income, balances. You're going to have to provide a lot of documentation. When we bought this house, at closing, when we sold our house, at closing, they sprang on us. They wanted a receipt for some repairs that I had done, and I had just simply used some materials that I had laying around the home. Well, that wasn't good enough. I had to provide an actual receipt from, say, a Lowe's or a Home Depot, and it became a real sticking point because this whole process had kind of nickel and dimed us to death. We were kind of done with it. Anyway, I may do a whole other video on some of the potential horror stories or whatever that relate to that. The one thing I did want to tell you in closing is that during the closing process, once an offer's been accepted, don't be applying for other lines of credit. That will derail things in a heartbeat. Remember, your financing is contingent upon a debt-to-income ratio and whatnot, and you do not want to be out shopping, getting financing for furniture, or opening up credit lines, anything of that nature during this process. Save yourself the headache. Don't make the mistake that a lot of people make. Save that stuff for after everything has been signed on the dotted line. Well, as always, guys, I barely scratched the surface. There's more that is involved that we could talk about, but this is enough to at least get you started and give you a slight feel for the process. If you've got questions, hit me with them in the comments below the video, or reach out to me at fussyandfinance@gmail.com.